Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Current Economy and Investment Insights. Today is January 11th, 2021. And Paul Munichel from Ameriprise is going to give us an update as to what took place in the marketplace. And Paul is going to be transmitting from his home to keep our distance. And when Paul is through, I will come back and give you some information that Ameriprise had shared with us to share with you as a viewer this morning. So stay with us. We're going to switch to Paul.
Okay, let's take a look at how a few sectors have been altered during this COVID outbreak. As we know, the U.S. economy lost 22.2 million jobs over the course of March and April alone. Now, through October, 12.1 million jobs have been recovered, leaving total employment still down 10.1 million, which is about 6.6% from February's peak. Now, almost every private sector industry shed jobs in the March-April period, with some much harder hit than others. Throughout this situation, no category of employment has suffered more than the broadly defined leisure and hospitality sector. It accounted for 38% of the jobs lost in March and April, and it still accounted for 35% of the jobs unrecovered through October. The sector is primarily comprised of people gathering businesses that are once again under pressure from resurging COVID infection rates and rapidly expanding restrictions. In 2019, the sector accounted for 11% of total U.S. employment, but many of the positions are part-time. It includes businesses like restaurants, theaters, bars, music and sports venues, casinos, amusement parks, and similar operations. A select few businesses have experienced increased demand amid the pandemic. Let's look at those that have grown employment since February. Now, not surprisingly, package distribution and delivery companies top the list, followed by home improvement stores. The federal government is also on the list, but the gains largely represent the remaining temporary workers from the 2020 census count. Unfortunately, in most industries, there's still plenty of room for recovery. Okay, we know this holiday season is going to look quite different than holiday seasons in the past, again, due to COVID. So let's talk about making a few financial adjustments in this unusual holiday season. As we continue to manage our life under the shadow of COVID-19 pandemic, you might feel that you need to rethink some of your holiday plans. Family gatherings, office parties, gift giving, and other aspects of the season may require a different approach to effectively manage the continuing health risks. Balancing holiday obligations can be challenging even in a normal year, but it may become even more stressful in 2020, given the adjustments required as we try to maintain our health and semblance of normalcy in our lives. Planning in advance can help you make solid personal and financial decisions in the months ahead. Here's a few aspects to consider. 1. Financial adjustments. So depending on your circumstances, you might face some financial challenges at a time of year when spending tends to rise. You should determine whether you need to dial back your spending plans on gifts, parties, and other facets of the holiday season to account for that. If so, be sure to set proper expectations with family members, friends, or others so they are aware that you might approach things a little differently this year. Let's talk about gatherings of family and friends. If you're going to reduce the size of your gathering this year, it could reduce the budget required for food and beverages. Even your decorating expenses might be lower if you think that not as many people will be walking through your door this holiday season. Changing gears to office parties, with so many people working remotely and extra efforts being made to limit personal contact, office holiday parties are likely to be limited. If you are an employer or the person responsible for a party, you may decide to scrap the party idea. An alternative is to put some of that money toward a thank you gift for each employee. This could be in the form of a specific item, a gift card, or maybe even a cash bonus. Let's talk about gift giving. If you face financial pressure due to today's economic uncertainty, be upfront about that with family members or friends who typically may expect something from you. This may not be the year to shower people with expensive presents, but instead put more emphasis on the meaning and thought behind any gifts you provide. Even gifts that require little or no financial outlay can be very special. And last but not least, let's talk about charitable support. This also may be a prime time to step up your charitable giving, particularly if you've cut back holiday spending in other areas. This has been a difficult year for many charitable organizations. A number have faced increasing demands for their services, while also seeing donations drop due to the weakened economy. Your generosity could be a truly beneficial gift for organizations you like to support. Last but not least, as always, should you require additional assistance with your investment planning or like to discuss this topic or any of the other ones that we've done in previous shows, you can always give me a call directly. My office number is 708-226-3412. Let's have a great and safe holiday season.
And thank you, Paul. Thank you for coming back to us from your home in your studio. It looks kind of snappy the way you have set yourself up there with the viewers. I'm going to give you the current information as of this morning from Ameriprise. The U.S. stocks are set to pull back from Friday's record close, with the Dow, S&P, and the NASDAQ each off more than 0.5%. The yield on the 10-year Treasury is higher to near 1.12% as investors continue to digest Friday's weak job number. Gold is moving higher off of a 6-week low despite a modestly stronger with the U.S. dollar. Shares of Twitter are sharply lower after the company permanently suspended President Trump's account. And the year-to-date numbers for the S&P 500 is a plus 1.87%. The Dow Jones is a plus 1.66%, and the NASDAQ is a 2.45%. Remember, these are year-to-date, and the numbers are holding very, very well, as Paul will be sharing in the future as we go on how this marketplace is going to fluctuate now with change in the government and change in the presidency. So we will see exactly how the market is going to go, and we will be sharing that with you. So stay with us. We'll be coming back with Your Money, another program that Paul will be sharing a specific topic that'll be of much interest for you. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. We're back with our show called Your Money, and we're going to switch back to Paul again. And Paul always has an interesting topic, and Paul, take it away.
Thanks, Ron. And to start our second show of the new year, let's take a quick recap of and remind ourselves of that roller coaster ride we were on in 2020. So 2020 was a year for the record books in many aspects. Who would have guessed the Russell 3000 index could move 20.9% higher during the worst global pandemic in over 100 years? During the year, investors were unwilling participants in a financial market roller coaster ride that saw the S&P 500 drop by approximately 34% in barely more than a month, which was a record, by the way, in the spring of 2020. only to gain it all back and more by year end. Believe it or not, the index ended 2020 with a 16.3% price only gain. Now, over at international markets, meanwhile, we're going to represent that by the MSCI All World X USA Index. It rallied in the final months of 2020, closing 10.7% higher. However, the strong finish was only enough to match about half the return of the US's Russell 3000 index. If we look at bonds, fixed income rates also dropped significantly around the globe in 2020. The US Treasury curve ended the year down more than 100 basis points across the curve. Fed officials have indicated a willingness to hold the front end of the curve at very low levels until the year 2023, which, combined with some recent upward pressure on the market-based yields, leaves little opportunity for bond market capital appreciation. For the next few years, the bond market could be a coupon clipping environment. We believe the US and the global economies will remain on a solid recovery path over the intermediate and short term potentially, but still heavily reliant on vaccine effectiveness and availability. Our forecast for the first half of 2021 has even improved modestly given the passage of another federal stimulus bill in late December. And of course, we have more reports on what our projections are for 2021, which again, I'm happy to provide to any viewers interested in receiving that. Give me a call directly and I can get that over to you. My phone number again is 708-226-3412. Okay, Ron, for the second half of the show, I want to discuss, because so many people have been doing things from home and on their phone and on their computers during this pandemic that we're in and continue to be in. I want to discuss some ways maybe to help you protect your identity while doing these things. So let's go ahead and dive into it. As Americans have increasingly turned to digital devices and online shopping as a result of this pandemic, there has been an unfortunate rise in identity theft and fraud as scammers attempt to exploit the situation. Alarmingly, 10% of US adults report being a victim of identity theft since the onset of COVID-19. So, identity theft, it is a broad term for the unauthorized use of your personal data, typically for a financial gain. It starts when someone steals your name, address, social security number, maybe your checking account or credit card numbers, passwords, and other personal information. Now, while identity theft can be scary, there is some good news. You can protect yourself in most cases by being aware of the threat and following certain practices for safeguarding your information. So number one, try and monitor your accounts regularly. Take advantage of the online access to your financial accounts and watch for fraudulent transactions. If something seems amiss, contact your bank or financial institution immediately to try and rectify it. Number two, keep tabs on your electronic devices. So we live a lot of our lives online, and some level of risk to our data is unavoidable. But you can take steps to minimize security gaps. So let's start with your physical devices. Always keep the software, both applications and operating systems on your phone, computer, smartwatch, and other devices. Try and keep it up to date. And enable automatic updates if you're comfortable with that. You may also want to limit mobile app access to vital pieces of information, such as your location, contacts, and photos, unless completely necessary. Point number three, clear your history often. So try to get in the habit of clearing your history in your Internet Explorer before you log out or step away from your computer. Doing so may not stop the most persistent thieves with a forensic skill, but it might slow them down in the process of retrieving data you'd rather keep private. Next one's pretty straightforward. Change your PINs and your passwords. If you regularly access financial accounts and complete credit and transactions online, it's particularly important to have several layers of security in place. So for example, you can easily require a PIN or password login whenever you turn on your phone or start your computer. But if you use the same password to log on to your computer and your bank account and open your phone or retrieve your email, you kind of defeated the purpose and made the identity thief's job that much easier. Make your passwords difficult to outsiders. So while non-essential strings of letters, symbols, and numbers can be hard to remember, they might be tougher passwords for criminals to hack. Next, this is the one that we should have been aware of, but watch for scams. Scammers are using increasingly realistic emails and text messages to prompt you to click on links or provide your personal information, a tactic known as phishing. So remain skeptical of emails that are pushing you to take action to solve an apparently urgent problem, even if they appear to be from a trusted source. If it's from a company you work with, don't log in from a link in the message. Go to the company's website and log in to your account directly the way you normally would log in. Finally, stay informed and alert. Because of the annual cost of identity theft, the federal government is interested in helping consumers stop identity theft before it happens. Stay informed about consumer identity theft with alerts, tips, and other resources provided by the Federal Trade Commission. And you can go there yourselves at www.consumer.ftc.gov if you're comfortable with that, and read more and take action if you see fit. So that's going to do it for the second half of our show today. Hopefully these tips help you to protect yourself a little bit better when you're online and on your phones. As always, if you have questions on investing or other financial relations, please give me a call directly. My number again is 708-226-3412.
And thank you, Paul. Interesting topic. We will be sharing other topics with you that are really of a lot of interest. If you are a small investor, you might want to continue watching the show. We're going to be giving you some interesting points that you might want to take into consideration. And of course, you should always be talking to your financial advisor before you make any adjustments to your portfolio. For Paul Munichel with Ameriprise Financial, and myself, Ron Jankowski with Channel 4 and Payless Heights, we wish you a good investment day.